Hey, I'm kid number 1, Anya. Welcome back to season 17 of my mom's podcast.
Hey guys, it's Kid 2 Ari. Welcome to Cozy Womb Podcast.
Yay! Welcome back to Cozy Womb Podcast. My name is Shan. This is episode 27. It is Friday, and I want to talk about what she want to talk about. Oh my God. I want to talk about, but what about the dad? Because studies show that men who eat healthier and exercise on a regular time frame produce healthier genes in children. There is a lot of pressure that is put on women, but no one talks about men's health when it comes to babies and procreating when that's involved. Doctors constantly tell women what they need to do, what they can and can't eat, that they should be active, but what about the men? And that's what I want to talk about. Welcome to Cozy Womb Podcast. Parenting news. Nick Cannon welcomes his 11th child. I don't have anything else to say about it. Mockingbird stroller has a recall. So if you do have that stroller and you are a parent of an infant or a toddler, please check your stroller and see if your stroller is involved in that recall. Did you know that the FDA is now saying not to use an infant head shaping pillow? It must be a hazard, but even when you see those pillows, they are pretty small to make sure the baby's head is not moving all over the place. But I think it's smart to have that in the car seat, but I don't know why you would need to have that in a crib or bed. So yeah, just letting you guys know. Before going crazy over your child's constipation, you might want to look into getting them pears to eat or pear juice. If they're over, I want to say 9 or 10 months, you can give them some pear juice. It's a natural laxative. Okay? And if that doesn't work, maybe they're dehydrated and need some Pedialyte, and then you could talk to the pediatrician, but try natural things first. And lastly, before we get into the bulk of the show, 10-year-old is facing battery charges for hugging their counselor. When did hugging become a crime? I'm sure was it inappropriate why they got that charge? Like I'm struggling with that. And sad news before we get into the show, a Texas lawyer was indicted over giving his pregnant wife a crushed up abortion pill in a drink. Some people do get married just so people can say, you haven't gotten married, you haven't found anybody, and they really don't want to be married, and they really don't want to have kids. Be careful of who you marry. Let's get into today's show. I hope that you guys are enjoying the show. I'm going to take a quick break to give you some details on some podcasts to check out and where else you can find me. Don't forget, Lulu.com has 3 of my journals to help podcasters. Yes, I made 3 books to go ahead and help podcasters. The first book I made was The Podcast Journal, and in that book, it basically helps you set a flow in order to do your shows and be more consistent, right? And the second book was Marketing the Podcast 101, where I explained to you that having a great podcast is, yes, recording it, but most of you getting your podcast out there is you talking about it and marketing it in a way, whether it's merch, TikTok, Twitter, IG, and your podcast or your website. You have to know how to market your podcast. You have to know who your audience is. And then the third book is The Podcast Questions. I really broke down page by page what questions you would want to ask a particular guest by the guest type. And I left spaces in there from recommendations of what questions you should ask and tips from other podcasters. And also I gave you space to create your own questions that you want to ask your guests. And it's lightweight books, it's nothing heavy. It's nothing odd. You can roll it up, or you can just like stick it in your laptop bag with your laptop when you travel to record, and you just have like your resource on hand. I know some people are really just digital and they put everything in notes on their iPhone, and some people are like vivid seers of what they need to do and they like to write things down. So I hope that helped. Again, it's on lulu.com. And you can check out the links on shambypodden.com. Now back to the show. Psst. It is winter. It's cold outside. It's wet. It is hoodie season. It is sweatshirt season. It is, where's my coffee mug? Because I need some coffee or some hot chocolate. And I got you. If you go to your computer or you go to your phone and you put in Cozy Womb Shop, voila, Teespring's going to pop up, and it's going to be the shop to support the podcast. Anything on there will be directly shipped to you, okay? It will give you a tracking number. You can wear it, you can be comfortable, and you will be supporting the Cozy Womb podcast, all right? Thank you guys for checking out the show. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to check out Good Pods, because I am on Good Pods with the podcast, and you can listen on Good Pods, and you can rate this show, and you can also comment and engage with other podcasters. Now let's get back to the show.
Here we go.
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
The dad's state of health is rarely brought to light, okay? In relationships, when you bring up, does your family have this, or does your family have that? Or, what did your grandparents die of? No one knows when you have that conversation, but I honestly feel like people don't have that conversation at all. Or when they do want to have that conversation, they have it when the baby's already developing. And you do want to know what hereditary illnesses your spouse has, or your partner has, or the father has, or the mom has, because there are some hereditary diseases that can pass on to a child. Okay, you don't want the woman to be 7 months pregnant and now you're learning that your family had sickle cell, or you're learning that the dad's family had cystic fibrosis, liver disease, or Huntington's disease, or cleft lip and palate, or diabetes, or asthma, or heart disease. Like, you have to be mindful of what you're connecting and what you're bonding and what you're creating and what you're gambling when you, 1, do become pregnant, 2, do decide to have a child with somebody, and 3, you want a healthy baby. And I'm not saying if the baby is not healthy, you shouldn't have it. I'm just saying you just want to be prepared and aware. So please, if you have parents that are alive, please have a conversation with them about their medical history or diseases that are in the family. If you have grandparents, you could talk to them just so you're aware of your family's history, because a lot of men and women are not aware of their family's history, and then when it's time for them to have children, or they want to have children, they find out that, oh, my grandmother did have problems having children, or my grandfather did have problems, having children, and it was a hard time, and oh my God, I didn't know my parents are adopted. Like, you don't want to find out the real too late, okay? So stop avoiding important discussions and really talk to the person you're having a kid with. Men can improve their sperm mobility with exercise. I think men's bodies go through less changes as they age compared to women. So you being fit and being consistent should be a lot easier, because every month you're not getting a period. Every month your moods are not changing biologically. You don't have boobs that are heavy. You don't have, thigh meat that's just like rubbing against your other thighs so much. And you just don't have women problems. Like, why are you not in the gym? Why are you not running? Why are you not playing basketball? Why are you not playing soccer? Like, why are you not active? Like, what is the reason? Unless you have like joint issues or foot problems, why are you not taking care of yourself? Okay? We all have Wi-Fi everywhere. So you have options to research what you can do to be active. You have options to research what's going to give me the best probability of creating a child with a woman. And I think it's unfair that women are told to take care of themselves before they even become pregnant in order to have better chances of pregnancy. But realistically, so do the men. The men have to take care of themselves before conception in order to have a higher probability of having a healthy child. Men need to eat better. Men need to lessen their salt and sugar just like women do. Men need to lower their alcohol intake because that can lower your sperm count, okay? Men need to lower their smoking, all right? That smoking is linked to fetal heart issues with babies. I bet you didn't know that, okay? Children with an obese parent have a 25% chance of being obese themselves. And if they have two obese parents, they have a 75% chance of being obese as children. So, get your life together before having a child. Get your life together when you find out you're having a child. And continuously make sure you're healthy as you're raising that child, because Ari's dad was trying to point out the fact that I feel like you eat too much sweets. I was like, okay, cool. Well, I feel like you smoke too much. Well, I feel like what you're eating is this. Well, in the last whatever hour you did all of this. So who is not a measurement of what's worse. It's a measurement of, if you want to be around for your kids for a long time, you got to correct that. If I want to be around for my kids for a long time, yes, I got to pull back on me eating sweets. But a lot of people point fingers at other people's habits when their habits are not making them the healthiest either. And I think when it comes to being parents, you can't say, you need to stop doing that when you are actively making yourself ill. Every day you choose to have this habit, you are weakening your immune system. You are weakening your lungs. You are lowering your capacity to be healthier every 10 years, every 5 years. Okay? So get it together. Fathers, the environment that you are in and you live in, being unhealthy can be linked to your baby having asthma. Okay? Asthma is a condition that can be heightened by the cleanliness of where you're living, the cleanliness of what you're working around on a constant basis. I think fathers should lower their stressful environments before conception, because it can reduce a baby's risk of chronic disease later on in life. Bet you didn't know that. Okay, the girl been reading. Okay, if you haven't dealt with your childhood trauma, please do that before you have children, because what you bury by yourself is one thing, but when you have kids and you've had childhood trauma, it is going to mirror that trauma in front of your face, because you're going to think, oh, what my experience will be your experience, when really it probably won't be that. But if you don't correct or talk about or work through what your fear is and what you dealt with, you'll limit your child from certain experiences that you're not ready for. Okay? So thank you for listening to Cozy Womb Podcast. Please get it together. Get active. Do what I said. If you do not want kids and you're not worried about that, then fine. Continue to be unhealthy. Continue to not be active. Do what you do. Drink what you want to drink. Whatever. But it cannot be solely on a woman to be her healthiest. It cannot be solely on a woman to not drink, not eat this, to relax. Men have to do that also. Okay? Don't forget to like, share, and review the podcast. And don't forget to check out the Cozy Womb shop. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.